asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste everyone and welcome to this session on basics of sadhana. So we are very happy at the response to these live streaming classes on Sundays, and I am happy that all of you would like to hear the Upanishads, you would like to hear something about sadhana on this day. When you have time at home, don't waste your Sundays, listen to something good, and we will also be discussing spiritual practice, meditation techniques. So please be there. For today we have taken up basics of sadhana. Now you know very well what sadhana is. It means spiritual practice, that which takes us to our sadhya vastu, that which takes us to our goal, spiritual goal is sadhana. So हिंदी में भी हम साधन शब्द यूज करते हैं. It's a tool, it's a method, it's a means to go into the spiritual goal of our lives. This is sadhana. But the thing you should know about sadhana is sadhana becomes fruitful only when it satisfies three conditions. What are these three conditions? Vivekananda used to speak about it. You can remember them as the three P's: purity, patience and perseverance. Then only sadhana is fruitful. So purity is actually, it means a thing in itself is purity. When you mix it up with something else, it becomes a compounded something. So sadhana requires purity, attaining to that original state of mind which will reveal reality in itself. That is the first requirement of sadhana. Purity means the thing in itself as it is, keeping it as it is, not mixing it up with something else. So the real nature of our mind, you know, your real being is pure awareness, consciousness. When it gets mixed up with thoughts, all kinds of emotions, negativities in the mind, you lose that level of awareness. You sort of invest your awareness into the thought process, and that is why purity of mind is insisted upon. Whatever is the means of your sadhana, it should be kept very pure. So this is an essential requirement for attaining the goal of sadhana, spiritual practice. This is the first thing, purity. Second is patience. Sadhana has to be performed patiently, not hurry through it. Today's lifestyle, we are always in a hurry. Please remember that this is a sign of insecurity, to be always in haste. If you are habitually calm, you will understand great work can only be done in calmness. So patience is very important, a virtue to cultivate for consistent spiritual practice. And the third one is perseverance. No matter what we are into, what are the circumstances in our life, how lazy you feel on Sunday mornings, no matter what the conditions around you are, you will persevere. Then only sadhana is possible. So you see, many people, they dismiss these three conditions, or just ऐसे ही sadhana नहीं होती. Some level of commitment is required, purity is required, then sadhana becomes successful. There are a whole lot of people who dispense with even sadhana. Not just these conditions, they sort of just think about Vedantic thoughts, but they may not actually be using any tool in their lives. I always recommend that you take up a meditation practice. It is only for very advanced aspirants who have a very pure, clear mind, that just a single thought process, a Vedantic dictum or Mahavakya can lead you to the ultimate truth. The rest of us, we all need a technique. We need a method, a means to go there. So take up a meditation practice and follow these three P's. This will constitute your sadhana. It is through sadhana that you get your sadhya vastu. Sadhya vastu की प्राप्ति साधना के द्वारा ही होती है. So be particular about this. Whatever you take up as a means for spiritual practice, it must be kept pure. It must be kept sacred. Then it becomes sadhana. So the feel of sanctity and purity must come into our lives. See, to say that the sacred and the secular are one and the same thing, that's a very high state. Today you must learn to feel the sacred. It is so very essential. Then you will understand the glory of the spiritual goal which we are aiming at, isn't it? So create the ambience for sadhana around you. If you can devote a room to that, it's wonderful. If you can't do that, your own room should be converted into a place where you can practice something. Practice a meditation technique and follow these 3 P's: purity, patience and perseverance, so that what you do there becomes a solid sadhana for you. Now you may ask this simple question, why sadhana at all? The point is, in our tradition, the 4-fold aims of human life have been very clearly defined. It is actually called dharma, artha, kama and moksha. These are the purusharthas, the 4-fold aims of an ordinary human life. Now let us try to understand these clearly, to understand the place of sadhana in every great life. Dharma is righteous conduct, righteous living. So this obviously has to be done if you want to lead the good life, if you want even to get a good job. Then inner integrity, honesty, truthfulness, all this becomes imperative. So righteous conduct, ethical living, this is the concept of dharma. Dharma here does not mean religion, it means righteous living. So this is the first purushartha, the first aim of human life, getting established in a moral way of living. The moral codes of your life are very firm and you are very clear that you have higher goals in life. You will not invest your energies and waste your time on just ordinary things. You have great goals to achieve. So the first purushartha then becomes dharma. Then after that, for any young person, then naturally he will require artha. Artha is money, wealth, which you require to stabilize yourself in life, for survival needs, to provide for your family. So then earning wealth through ethical means, this is the second aim of human life. The third aim is kama. Kama signifies the fulfillment of legitimate desires. So any young person, naturally he will want a good job. He wants to earn money for his family. After that he will go into good relationships, committed relationships, have a family, a good family life. So all this satisfies kama. But artha and kama, a well-developed mind will understand that these two have their own limitations. They have a whole lot of things ingrained in them, intrinsic to them, and in a way they give a limited sort of experience. So then the fourth purushartha has been defined as moksha, getting liberated from anything that limits you or binds you. So the moksha ideal has to be understood by oneself by attaining great clarity of mind. What does moksha actually mean? Most people have no idea of it. It's just a sort of abstract ideal. But it means complete freedom or liberation from the merely sense-bound or mind-bound life. So these are considered the 4 aims of human life. Now, we will try to understand this for the spiritual aspirant. When do we start embark on our spiritual endeavor, spiritual effort, is when we understand the limitations of dharma, artha and kama. That's when you aim full time at moksha. So the limitations, the great moral conundrum of our lives. See, life is full of contradictions. Life is full of insecurities. When you understand this kind of existential reality of life, then you pause and you think, then what is the goal, the actual aim of human life? What is my own real nature? I pass through life without understanding who I am. So what is my real nature? What is the unchanging truth about me? You will naturally ask this. So then you review what dharma means, what artha means, what kam means in your life. So then you start understanding that artha and kama also have deep limitations in themselves. What do they give us? They give you momentary pleasure, momentary security and comfort. Yes, these things they provide. But these are themselves limited. They are intrinsically limited. In what sense? See, there is something called diminishing marginal return. I think you know the concept very well. Whenever you invest into something, after some time you will see the return is not proportionate to your investment. So this is called diminishing marginal return. Whatever you invest into, you will see after some time the return is not as per your expectations. This happens even with artha and kam. You have invested certain amount of energy, time, you have invested in a whole lot of things maybe into these two. After some time you feel you're not happy with what you're getting back. So that is why greed and lust are never the ultimate aims of human life. For some time they give you experience. After that they show how limited they are in satisfying you. They are transitory, they are fleeting, they are ephemeral, and most of all they are addictive. They bind you. I am not telling you don't desire for the good things of life. You will desire, okay? Human manifestation itself is about satisfying something, some urge from within. But going beyond a certain point and trying to optimize your happiness only at this level, this will not work. This is what I am telling you. So optimizing your happiness only at the sense level is a very miserable state of existence actually. So that is why understanding the nature of artha and kama becomes important. Vivek begins from here. So that's why I'm going to introduce a very important concept here called the hedonic treadmill experience, which all of us experience, but we don't analyze it this way. It will show you the nature of happiness and the levels of happiness you are capable of, but which you have not explored. So when we commit ourselves mainly only to the sense level, what happens? We enter the hedonic treadmill experience. If you type it on Google or go into modern psychology, you will get a whole lot of information on this. So much of research has been conducted on this. So what is this treadmill about? You know what a treadmill is? It gives you plenty of exercise, but you stay at the same point, at the same spot. That's the treadmill experience. You are expending a lot of energy, but you don't go anywhere with it. And hedonism is actually pleasure theory, the theory of pleasure. It will show you the intrinsic limitation of the sense life. So this is how it works. You see, whenever our mind is by nature restless, isn't it? Unless we have trained it through yoga, it will remain restless and jumping from one object to the other. So the characteristic of the untrained human mind is it seeks happiness or joy from the outside. And to do that, it will keep reporting happiness in objects. So it will tell you, if you get this particular object, let's take an example. Let's say we are in Delhi, so we will take Delhi ka laddu ka example. Here it's very famous. The Delhi laddus, they are, ऐसा कहते हैं हिंदी में कि आप खाओगे तो भी पछताओगे, नहीं खाओगे तो भी पछताओगे. The mind produces this state. If you eat it also, you sort of repent or regret. And if you don't eat it also, you will keep regretting due to your desire. This is the nature of that sweet meat, Delhi ka laddu. So what happens is the mind will keep on telling you, well, if you have that, you will be very happy. This is the nature of desire. Take that object and you will be very happy with it. So then what do? You consume one laddu, say the second laddu, maybe a third one. And then what does your mind do? It kept on reporting. All the excitement was in the anticipation of great happiness. Once you have had the experience of the object, you have eaten the laddus, then the mind will quieten down a bit, but not get absorbed in that object. It will immediately jump to the next object of your passion or enjoyment. This is the nature of the mind. It convinced you that a lot of happiness you will get out of that object. Once you experience the object, this very mind will stay quiet for a few seconds, that's all. Then it jumps to the next object of your passion. It is not getting absorbed in the object, it is not getting contented with the object, it is not satisfied, it is not fulfilled in any sense. So the desire-driven mind goes on and on, driving you from one object to the other, to the other, to the... This will go on, and it keeps us restless, it keeps us overactive, it keeps us, the hungry look on the face of most people is due to this. There is no inner contentment or satisfaction. So this is termed as the hedonic treadmill experience. It drives you, it drives our economy, it drives consumerism. This inner urge for satisfaction of our desires. So what do? We try to hoard. अभी थोड़ी देर के बाद इसी को फिर से experience करेंगे. We try to hoard, we try to optimize the experience at that plane only. But it doesn't work. No sense experience has given you absolute fulfillment or contentment. Isn't it? So check this out and see for yourself. This is not a philosophy or somebody's theory. You have to check it out and see in your own life. Any object of your experience, to what level does it satisfy you? And why it doesn't give you complete fulfillment, absolute satisfaction and peace within yourself? Why it doesn't give you that? You should check this out for yourself. You party every day, the fifth day your mind will become sick. It will want to get out of that mode. Any object will do this for you. So that is when we understand the limitations of artha and kam. They are meant for experience. They are meant to teach you something, but they cannot be the goals of human life. So that is when you embark on sadhana. You understand that there must be higher levels of experience and happiness and fulfillment. So then you start exploring the levels of happiness available to the human being. There are levels of happiness. In fact, there's a whole ladder of happiness available to you, which you have to explore for yourself. And the sense-bound happiness is only the first rung of the ladder. That is only the first rung. It gives you only this much. Then when you step up, what's the next rung of the ladder of happiness? Actually, there's a talk on this which you can see on YouTube, the ladder of happiness. So the next rung of the ladder of happiness is the happiness born not of objects, sense objects, but of deeper thought, quieter thought. Doesn't it absorb you? Maybe you took up a good book. You can get absorbed in it. It generates flow. Maybe you wrote something yourself. You wrote a poem. It gives you so much joy. So the joy born of thought is more engaging. It generates a certain level of flow, and it keeps you happier for a longer time. The sense level of joy will give you just fleeting joy, very temporary, but this is longer lasting, the second level. But there's a third level also, and it makes for a vertical climb. Please see, the third level of happiness is deep intellectual activity. Have you seen this? When you're deeply engaged in something, time just passes and you don't realize it. So it can be some wonderful mathematics which you have been doing. It can even be a game of chess. So that can be deeply engaging and it can generate flow. I remember as a school student, I used to play chess, and I would get so deeply absorbed in it that I could, after the game was over, I could retrace every step back to the original before I started the game, and it would show me where I made my mistakes or where I did well. So this is a possibility with our human mind. Deep level engagement will produce deep level happiness, and that's what our intellect is meant for. So once you get used to these higher levels of happiness, do you think you will invest your energy at the lower levels? It's a natural climb, and test this out in your own life and see. There's a level higher than this, deep intellectual activity. The fourth level is what is called the happiness born of service. When you contribute to another life, the smile you bring on other faces, that will flood your life with joy. And it's a kind of ethereal joy, but it is palpable, it's tangible. It will change your very mind, bringing happiness, sattvic joy into other lives, will give you a taste of this higher levels of joy which you are capable of. So this is the next level, the level of seva, the level of selfless service, but beyond all of these is the level of meditation. If you have tasted meditation, you will understand what happiness means. You enter the realm of ananda now. Mental joys can be classified under sukham, sukha they give you, certain level of inner balance and joy, but ananda is something very, very deep, very transforming, very fulfilling. So the meditative life is like that. Try it out and see. One bout of real meditation refreshes your entire system. In fact, even the starting points of meditation, if you just regulate your vital energy within you, regulate the Ida and Pingala, you will taste higher levels of Sukham. You will enter into the realm of Anand. And if real meditation is got, you actually become blissful by nature. No sorrow can touch you. Even anything you pass through in life will keep you very balanced. So this is a perfect possibility with the meditative life. So this is the higher level of happiness which we are capable of. Of course, after this is the transcendental level of joy beyond meditation. So this level of happiness, which is beyond meditation, comes with the fulfillment of the meditative process. It is what is called samadhi. These are the highest levels of blissfulness you are capable of. But let's not go now straight into samadhi. You can understand it only through the meditative process. So look at this ladder of happiness. This is what I'm trying to show you. You are capable of higher and higher happiness. And at every level of this ladder, there are different degrees of happiness. You make a mistake in life when you try to optimize happiness only at the first rung of the ladder, only by collecting more and more objects around you. If you are really wise and now you are attending the Sunday classes, so you must get wiser every Sunday, you will try to climb this ladder. Enter higher and higher realms of happiness. You are perfectly capable of it. Once you get used to it, the lower levels naturally fall away. See, this is what the world calls renunciation. From the standpoint of the renunciant, it's a natural process. You will naturally invest only in that which gives you more fulfillment, isn't it? So this is the capacity of the human mind to scale this ladder and move upward. Now, spiritual practice is meant for this, to help you enrich your human experience, help you discover the higher levels of happiness naturally. This is the purpose of spiritual practice, sadhana. So the basics of sadhana begin when you have this vivek, this understanding, this discrimination between what gives me greater fulfillment and what is actually not fulfilling but maybe very enthralling to the senses, very attractive to the senses. So this is called vivek, discrimination between the real and the unreal, between the less and the more, between what is addictive by nature and what is liberating by nature, what is fulfilling, what is not fulfilling, an acute discrimination between these. This is the starting point of sadhana. With vivek, everything begins. It is the causal factor. If you have vivek, you will naturally have vairagya. I told you, it appears like vairagya from the outside. From the renunciant standpoint, it's a natural transformation of his life and consciousness. Because you have vivek, you have understood the relative importance of things. So vairagya actually means detachment from the lower, from the mere sense-bound life to higher and higher levels of happiness. This is Vairagya. Don't think it is about donning a particular cloth and going away somewhere. Don't think Vairagya means that. Vairagya is a state of mind. It can be generated anywhere. And where you are, please remain there and culture your mind, culture your different faculties, scale this ladder of happiness, and you will be a Vairagi naturally, wherever you are. You will be a real Rishi, a person who is committed to higher growth, higher experiences in life. So, this is regarding Vairagya. Just now I am enumerating the fourfold qualifications required for Vedanta. See, it's a natural process. With Vivek, Vairagya comes. These are the two primary requirements for Vedanta. Because as long as you're tied up to the sense-bound life, Vedanta will not make much sense. It will appear like at the most like a good philosophy, which is a thought construct, It is not a thought construct actually. It is existential reality, existential truth, truth seen barely as it is. For that you require a certain level of intuition of mind, clarity of mind. So that is sadhana. So you see, with Vivek and Vairagya, you enter the realm of Vedanta. So before I start with Vedanta, actually the Upanishads, I am devoting two classes, this today's class, Basics of Sadhana, and the next class also, to understanding the science behind sadhana and the technology you will require to enter into Vedanta. This is very important. You can't take a straight jump into something. You must prepare the body mind. So you prepare it step by step. What are the initial two qualifications? Vivek by oneself. You don't have to believe me or any book. Please believe in your own experience and analyze it. Check it out for yourself. Vivek and Vairagya. A certain level of detachment from the mere sense life, so that I am able to glimpse the higher life by myself in my own system. The third qualification for Vedanta is what is called Shat Sampatti. 6 group of treasures. They are really treasures of the inner life. What are they? One by one we'll dwell upon them. The first one is Shama. The 6 treasures are Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. Shama means calmness of mind, calmness of disposition, a natural tendency to remain quiet mentally. That doesn't mean low energy. Please understand this. High energy people, highly sattvic people can be very calm. In fact, they are calm. And the Rajasic are overactive but in mediocre energy, medium energy. Tamasic may appear to be doing a whole lot of things, but in tamas they are doing it in very low energy level. So the sattvic mind is illuminating. It is clear. It is full of energy, yet it is quiet and calm. This is a possibility. So Shama means this state. Deep inner calmness, quietude within yourself. Dhamma means ability to control the senses, sense organs, and through that to ability to control the mind. Dhamma means to put down or to control. So what our senses are exposed to, this becomes the actual content of your mind. Have you seen this? Your thoughts are generated as per your sense exposures. So take care. That is why we always say sattvic habits and ways of living are important. This is Dhamma, the second important treasure of the spiritual life. Uparati is the ability to withdraw your senses from sense objects. Not enough just to know that, oh, this will not get me enough, but the ability to turn back the senses and the mind from mere sense objects. This is Uparati, the opposite of Rati. Not moving towards them, but moving away from them. The fourth is what is called Titiksha. Titiksha is very beautiful, forbearance, ability to bear with all the dualities and polarities of life, so that I am able to keep my calm state of mind so as to be able to do sadhana. So if you are really smart, you will do everything necessary for sadhana. You will create that atmosphere around you. It's not enough to have smart gadgets. We must be really smart people using smart gadgets. We must know how to create the ambience for sadhana in our own homes where we are. So titiksha gives you that ability. You are habitually calm and forbearing by nature. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam. This is titiksha. Without worry, without anger, without reactions, without complaining and blaming, if you can hold your calm, you are really somebody. So if this is not there, you can't proceed with sadhana. A whole lot of, all kinds of people will be around you, always, anywhere. Please know this. If you read the life of Holy Mother Sri Sharda Devi, you will find this. Even in divine lives you find this. So if you keep complaining, you will complain till the end of your life. So don't complain. Take charge of yourself and somehow create the kavach around you so that you remain in this high positivity, high positive level state always. So nothing will affect you. This you can do. Titiksha is important. After that is Shraddha. Shraddha is very beautifully described by Shankaracharya as astikya buddhi, a positive affirmative state of mind where your thoughts condense into convictions and you are perfectly able to accept the truth and reality of things. It is not blind faith, it is an enlightened intellectual faith where you are able to accept reality. It is not the cynical, skeptical attitude which is so common in today's youngsters. So this will lead you nowhere. You must have this enlightened faith, Shraddha. Vivekananda wanted this, to see this so much in youngsters. If you have this one quality, you will have everything. So Shraddha is important. And after this comes Samadhan. It means the ability to focus, concentrate. A developed mind naturally has this ability. An undeveloped mind is constantly jumping from one. If you practice a little bit of yoga at home, it will regulate all this. You see, yoga is, we use it as a stepping stone to Vedanta, to the knowledge of Vedanta. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, this will become very clear to you. Lord Krishna says it again and again, that the highest state of Brahma Atma Aikyam is gained by whom? Yoga Vishuddhatma, one who has established himself in yoga. So by yoga I mean meditation. A little practice of these meditative practices will put you into the state of samadhan, constant focus, a focused mind always. Not the jittery, frittery kind of mind, always running here and there, not that kind. So you are stable within yourself. These are the 6 groups of treasures which will take you very far in your study of Vedanta, in the practice of Vedanta, and in elevating your life. And the last, but not the least, is mumukshutvam. That's the most important criterion for the study of Vedanta, which means you have a genuine desire to know the self, to know your own real nature, to know the ultimate reality of life, Brahman. You are after liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from the bound state of existence, bound to the sense life, bound to compulsive habits, bound to conditioned thinking. You want to get out of this. This is the freedom which you adore. This is the freedom which you covet. That is mumukshutvam. When it raises itself to a certain pitch of intensity, you become a mumukshu, one desirous of liberation. So people have all kinds of perverted ideas about liberation or salvation. It is not about vanishing somewhere or some kind of getting an experience of shunya. It is actually awakening into pure awareness. Your life, what you are calling life, is nothing but an expression of that awareness through this body-mind mechanism. So life will only enhance, isn't it? With high-level awareness. So mumukshutvam actually means awakening into full awareness, full consciousness. So who doesn't want this? Actually speaking, your subconscious and unconscious are yearning for it. But your conscious mind keeps you busy with various things. to clear the mind, that is why to purify the mind, is the essential thing. It will give you an inside view of all this that we are talking about. Now what I just told you, these four things, Vivek, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti and Mumukshutvam, these are together called Sadhan Chatushthay. The fourfold qualifications for sadhana, for starting sadhana. Without this, you should not embark on reading Vedant. It will not work. For the simple reason, the system is not prepared. See, we had to do so much of preparation with this system here to make this live streaming possible. You know, our team comes 1 hour beforehand. Shouldn't you prepare yourself for the life of Vedant? Sadhana is the way. And these fourfold qualifications, Sadhan Chatushthay, that is why they have to be practiced every day in your own way. In your homes, in the way you can. Don't waste your time anymore on unnecessary things, on things which simply distract you, which only give you limited experiences, which you are bored with but you can't get out of. Now you must renew your resolutions and start with a fresh life, the life of sadhana. Commit yourself at least for an hour a day, 1 hour every day for sadhana. Preferably early mornings and sometime maybe in the evening, dusk time. But twice a day, if you can sit for sadhana, you will get a lot in spiritual life. Every day you grow from within. Growth is always from within. The triggers may be outside, but growth happens from within you. The seat of your experience is within you. So please start with some form of sadhana. I will not recommend the study of Vedant nor encourage it without some form of spiritual practice in your own lives. I am very insistent about this. In the Sunday classes which we used to have here, the offline classes, the classes which were regular for I think the past 4 years, I was absolutely insistent that meditation was being practiced in the shrine before they came to the class. Otherwise, no point, don't come. There's no point. Vedanta is not about discussion. It is not about intellectualizing something. It is not about ideas, however elevating. It is an unfoldment of awareness. It is the touch of pure consciousness which will come only when you put down the mind, and it is only possible through sadhana, that is why. For one who has done sadhana for lifetimes, he may just have the intuition suddenly, maybe in one lifetime, but he has he's carrying this backpack of enormous sadhana in the past, which you don't know. So don't take shortcuts here. Sadhana is absolutely required for getting this inner awakening. It's a transformation of your own consciousness, please understand. As long as your consciousness is invested in the thought process and the thought process is invested in the sense life, you will go nowhere, no matter how many Vedanta talks you hear. And that is why sadhana is the starting point. If you are performing some sadhana at home, and we will be discussing sadhana also during this, more and more during these talks, then all these things will hit you, whatever we discuss in Vedanta. Otherwise, I will keep using the terms awareness, consciousness, it will mean nothing. So this is the essential thing. Today we have question and answers. So last 15 minutes I will be opening up for question answers. Already a whole lot of questions have come to me, but I am absolutely insistent on sadhana. Please understand this. In your homes, every day, 1 hour to be invested in sadhana. Last time I gave you 5 points for keeping the mind in positive states. This time, 1 hour invested in sadhana every day. At times convenient to you, preferably dawn and dusk. If you can do pre-dawn, that's the best time actually, Brahma Muhurt. But I leave it to you. Brahma Muhurt is exactly 1 hour 36 minutes before the sun rises. 1 hour 36 minutes before the sun rises. If you can capture that time is so precious to yogis. It is the time when you can become still without effort. So if you can't do that, at least dawn, when the sun rises, quieten your entire system and meditate. And dusk, invest some time at that time to please practice sadhana, and then we will be able to grasp, really go into Vedanta. Now I would like to end this talk on sadhana here with just one clue about what we are going to do next. We will take up question answers now, but in the next class I am going to take up a hymn called Sadhana Panchakam. If you can download it from the internet, please do it. You can get a PDF document of Sadhana Panchakam. It's a small hymn of 5 verses, but with 40 commandments in it. The essentials of sadhana have all been brought together. It's very interesting when Shankaracharya was asked towards the end of his life, how exactly does one get Vedanta knowledge, the knowledge of Vedanta, the experience of Vedanta, this Advaita that you are constantly expounding, how does one get that? He said, he put down this hymn and he said, this is the way to get it. And that is called the Sadhana Panchakam, a set of 5 verses which I want you to download from the internet and keep it ready, go through it, keep it ready for the next class, because I will be discussing those 40 steps, or you can say commandments for sadhana. The entire outline and requirements of sadhana are there, so that then we enter into Vedanta. Then we will study the Upanishads. We will start with the Ishopanishad after that. So please do this as homework. Now I will move on to the questions. I already have 7 questions here. Mataji, they say finding a guru is important for sadhana. How do I go about it? Finding a guru is absolutely important for sadhana, especially when it comes to Vedanta. The guru is almost the all in all, because the Vedantic type may not even have so much of belief in a personal God. But when you find the expression of divinity in a human being, that is the greatest blessing of your life, actually speaking. Shankaracharya has put it beautifully in his own words, that this is the point of transformation in a person's life. To find a person where I see what I am seeking for. Because the path of sadhana is very, very difficult, and it can have it depends a lot on the quality of the aspirant. So when you have a guide, it's a huge help. So please find a guru. And how do I go about it? If you deeply yearn for a guide, a help, the help will come to you. This is the law of spiritual life. What you yearn for, it comes to you. Pray for it and it will come to you. And how do I know he is my guru? He will inspire you from within tremendously. And Vivekananda used to say, he will know everything about you, your past, present and future. You are in touch with that soul since long. It will appear like that. So this is how you find your guru. Yearn for it intensely and it will happen. The second question is, Mataji, is it important to get Diksha, or can one do sadhana without Diksha? Diksha is initiating yourself into the spiritual life, isn't it? So it is important. In fact, Diksha is so very important because you get energized by it. Your energy level will increase. The guru's energy goes into the disciple. So I always recommend Diksha, some form of initiation into the spiritual life. There are different forms, okay? Sri Ramakrishna would give Diksha just by a touch or a glance. But Diksha is also given through a mantra. Now, you must go in for Diksha from a very authentic source, because that will change the very pattern of your life, your energies and your mind. So these are all great aids to spiritual life. What should I do if others in my family are not supportive of serious sadhana? See, when the turning point comes in your life, it's not necessary that it has come into other lives too, isn't it? So you must create the sadhana kavach around yourself. put yourself into a position where you can periodically isolate yourself from the common ideas, common talk that goes on in your home. You can keep a room for sadhana. You can convert your own room into a place for meditation. There you will deliberately do some form of, you see, the purpose of ritual and all this is to condition our minds in particular ways. So every day there, maybe you light some incense, you do something which will trigger your spiritual feeling. You practice your meditation there. Anya vacho vibunchata, you simply sort of exclude yourself from all other kinds of talks. This is so very important, otherwise people will carry you away here and there with a whole lot of things, because there may be so many in your home who are themselves interested in many things which you have no interest in. So a little exclusion is okay in your home. And the kavach, creating a kavach actually means an armor of spiritual practice. The more you practice spiritual discipline, the kavach naturally gets created. It's an aura which you create around you, which protects you from harmful influences. Today you may get such influences in various ways. You don't actually have to go to some bad place to get them. You may get it in various ways actually. They are right in the air, I would say. So you must tune yourself to the highest naturally, and then this becomes a possibility. So don't go around quarreling or complaining or blaming others. It's of no use. Nor can you transform anybody just like that. But you can intensify your inner life and radiate an aura of positivity and peace, so that others start respecting you, and naturally they will keep a distance from you. They won't trouble you. So that's how you proceed with your sadhana. What do you mean by vital energy? This is the thing. You can put on so what exactly do you mean by vital energy? If you understand this, you understand almost 50% of your spiritual life. Vital energy means prana. Vital energy is otherwise called pranic energy, pran shakti. So how does it function in us? Just now we are talking of thoughts and emotions. These are all expressions of this pranic energy, vital energy in us. Can you feel it in your system? Yes, you can feel it in your system if you are very sensitive. The upsurge of energy, the flow of energy can be detected in your own system. If you are very quiet, if you quieten down the whole system, you can feel the flow of prana. In fact, you are supposed to feel it in meditation. Once you sense it, you will regulate it. Once you regulate it, you become very comfortable from within. You are happy by yourself. You are at ease within yourself. You are not restless. You are not looking here and there for distraction and enjoyment. You actually don't require anything to be happy within yourself. You understand this. Just regulating this vital energy will give you the experience of sukham, higher happiness. So detect it in your own system. If you are not able to detect it, at least mentally through your thought process, commit it to your heart center. What do I mean by this? See, if you have watched my talks, I have always insisted on this. What is the meaning of this? Through your thought, if you concentrate on the heart center, maybe you imagined a holy image there, maybe you thought of Om, maybe you chanted some mantra, imagining the heart center. You are, actually you are investing your entire prana at the heart. You are raising the level of your vital energy. Vital energy flows all over your system. It is responsible for your vital functions as well as your mental processes. But if you commit it at a particular place, you concentrate it there, your spiritual life begins. It begins with the heart center. So you can do it through the thought process. That is why in meditation we always tell you, when you have Diksha, you will understand this immediately. We always tell you, concentrate on the Ishtam or the mantra at the heart. Think of a lotus and think of the image of your Ishtam sitting on the lotus there in the heart center. Why do we say such things? so that the vital energy in your system is raised to the heart. As long as it does not reach the heart, you will remain in distracted states of mind because it is traversing the lower centers. But once it reaches the heart, it quietens down, it calms your entire system. In fact, this should be your default mode. This is how the life of sadhana begins. So it's very good you ask this question. A lot of spiritual life is the handling of vital energy from the standpoint of yoga. Vedanta starts from the standpoint, it starts with thinking analytically, but thought itself is one of the higher expressions of vital energy. Please understand this. So initially you stabilize the energy in your system. So we use yoga as a means. Meditation is the means to this enlightenment, higher knowledge. So get sensitive about your vital energy. Let me see if you can do it. A little yogic practice every day and you will become sensitive to the vital energy in your own system. The next is, I do japa for 30 minutes and get tired. How can I prolong it? So you are getting tired because you're fighting with your mind. As you keep on practicing, the fight will stop. You are fighting with your vrittis, you are fighting with your sanskars, most probably. That's why you're tired. Otherwise, japa should not tire you, ideally. It should enhance your vitality because you're taking the name of God. It should bring more energy into your system. It should bring more calmness in your mind and more good bhavs, more concentration and more awareness. See, these are the indices of higher happiness and spiritual growth. What are they? Higher vitality, higher awareness, deep calmness, perfect balance, harmony of your vital energy and deep inner quietude. You don't require objects constantly to keep you engaged and happy. These are the indices of happiness. So check it out and see if this is happening. How can I prolong it, you have asked? Only when you get comfortable within yourself, you can prolong a spiritual practice, isn't it? If it doesn't feel good, if you're struggling with it, how will you prolong it? So I first recommend that you stabilize yourself within yourself through these practices which I have recommended. In this particular video, we have discussed sadhana. So go like that, step by step, and then you practice japa, it will be very fruitful. Then you can think of prolonging it. After that, we have a question, how do I make a balance between spiritual life and family life? This is a tricky question, but after a certain time, we understand that family life itself has to be geared up. It has to be sort of made into a means or at least elevated so that spirituality can unfold. Otherwise, by family life, if you are only meaning attachments or entanglements with a whole lot of people around you, because you have invested yourself in them, then it will depend on the wills of so many people, and they can be going in directions opposite to you, opposite to yours, to your will. So this can create a struggle. How to bring about a balance is, that is why start by bringing spiritual habits into your home. We always recommend this. In the homes of devotees, there must be some form of spiritual engagement which they do together every day, even if for 10 minutes. Like I know a number of devotees where as a family they do morning aarti together. They perform the aarti together, all of them stand together and do it. It's a 10-minute ritual, but it brings them into a sense of oneness in their own minds. Another thing which devotees commonly do is they read Kathamrit, Ramakrishna Kathamrit, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, for about 10 minutes before retiring at night. As a family, they sit together and do it. So you see, simple habits like these can make you of one mind. So you can harmonize the family life and spiritual life. If you can't do it, it becomes very difficult. That I can understand. So try to bring these habits into your homes. अगर आपको कोई कहे कि you are only peculiar, we don't have such habits, by the aura you radiate, you can gradually convince them that it is possible to lead a very sattvic life, a spiritual life at home. perfectly possible. So you must gradually bring in these habits at home. Please try to do it and see. Good reading every day. A whole lot of our devotees do this. They sit and read with their children. 10-15 minutes you can do it, isn't it? Instead of only reading fairy tales to them, read something from the Ramayana, read something from Vivekananda's life, from the Bhagavad Gita every day, and you will see it works like magic. The younger the children, the better it is to do this. So please try in these ways to bring about a balance between spiritual life and family life. Without that, it's very difficult, I can understand. How much time I have to spend every day in meditation to gain some spiritual experience? That depends upon how you are. There are people who, without too much of meditative practice, have had spiritual experience. Some people require a lot of practice. It depends on what sanskars we carry and how our mental makeup is. So the whole point is to lead the spiritual life with full energy, with full understanding, and continue with your meditative practices. At some point, don't aim at spiritual experience, a flash of light, vision of God. You continue with the tools you have at hand, and at some point the inner awakening will occur. For the bhakta, it comes in the form of deep bhakti, love of God, the vision of God. For the jnani, it may come as deeper awareness, the inner light shining forth. Whatever it is, spiritual experiences vary widely according to the need and the mindset of spiritual aspirants. Whatever you are seeking, you will get, but there must be a process to it, a sadhana towards it. If you ignore sadhana and keep imagining spiritual experience, it will not come. So the essential foundation has to be laid and systematic sadhana has to be performed. Please invest into this. Pay attention towards this, and spiritual experience will happen by itself. You know, there are signs of real spiritual experience. What are the signs? First of all, Sri Ramakrishna himself says, you will become extremely blissful from within yourself. Nothing irritates you because the entire energy has risen to its summit. So you are the very embodiment of happiness and peace. You radiate it around you. Another sign of God vision is you have become extremely pure to the core of your being. You have no ulterior motives. You are a transparent crystal whom everybody can trust. So everybody is drawn towards you. You become magnetic, as it were, only because of the strength of spiritual experience and because spiritual experience, please remember, there is no substitute to it. It is the only thing that transforms you completely. So these are all the signs of a spiritual experience. If you have had it, you are a totally different person altogether. You become a sage or a saint. And the whole aim of sadhana, spiritual practice, is to get that, to reach that. So you please concentrate on sadhana. This is what I would say. Even after spiritual experience, for a long time, one has to be an enormous sadhak for a long time until you are established in samadhi or spiritual experience completely for days on end. When you can remain in those states, then Sri Ramakrishna gives another very beautiful pointer. He says, when the senses and the mind are completely purified, then that is the end of your sadhana. Not until then. Until then you go on. Maybe you had glimpses of few things, you had samadhi-like states, but don't stop there. That's not the end. Sri Ramakrishna's beautiful allegory of the woodcutter is there. A brahmachari tells a woodcutter, proceed further, don't stop at these woods. He goes forward and he finds a forest of sandalwood trees. Then he again remembers, the brahmachari said, go forward, proceed further. Then he goes further and he finds a copper mine. Then he still goes forward, he finds a silver mine, then a gold mine, then precious gems, and then that's the end. So as you proceed with your sadhana, you will find greater and greater things, inner revelations, great visions, complete fulfillment within yourself, high awareness. You will understand what unfoldment of awareness and consciousness means. So I think that is the fulfillment of your sadhana. So don't think too much of the spiritual goal. Think of the way and the tool, the method which you have taken up. Attain fulfillment in that and you will reach the culmination of it. So I think let's stop here. We have answered 7 questions. I hope this session on sadhana was useful to you. Get the essentials right. That is the most important thing about spiritual life. Next week we will take up the sadhana panchakam, which will give you further insights, deep insights into sadhana. And then only I am going to take up the Upanishads. So please download the sadhana panchakam and please come to the next class. Thank you very much. Jai Ma.